Your Excellency, thank you so much for your time. Having you is great pleasure and honor. Impact of the tourism within the economy, especially for Egypt and then worldwide. Is it finally measurable or not?
It's my pleasure to be with you, and I'm very glad to participate in the Executive Council of the UNWTO in Georgia. We had a very successful year 2019 for the tourism sector, with the best records we did ever have in Egypt. We started quite well the year 2020, and suddenly from March is the fall down. Egypt is more than 10% of our GDP. Tourism is more than 10% of our GDP in Egypt, and it's around 3 million people working in the hotels and resorts, 1 million directly and more than 2 million indirectly. So it was a huge financial and social challenge we had to overcome. We gave a lot of incentive to the private sector, to the employees in the tourism industry, and we resumed successfully with the domestic tourism by mid-May in some governorates, then the international tourism on the coastal governorates in South Sinai, Red Sea, and Matruh in the northwest of Egypt. It was very successful. We received more than 220,000 tourists from around 15 countries during the first 2 months. We resumed the cultural tourism beginning of September. We'll start the Nile cruises beginning of October. It's a huge shock for the tourism industry. I have also the portfolio of antiquities in Egypt, so we had to close all sites and museums, and this was another shock, because we have to cover maintenance expenses, security, restoration, but we are continuing. We have a huge support from our president and our government, and we are continuing to build the Grand Egyptian Museum. We were able to open 2 museums during the pandemic.
The new one?
Yes, and we'll be opening 2 more during the next coming weeks. We're organizing a huge pharaonic parade with the mummies from Cairo Museum to a new museum in Cairo. We are around less than 20% of our numbers comparing to last year's in South Sinai and the Red Sea.
It's open, Mr. Minister, so far, yeah? Everything is open.
Yes, everything is open now in Egypt, except the Nile cruise, beginning of October.
October, yeah.
We implemented very strict hygiene safety measures after discussions with our partners everywhere in the world, because as you know, there is no catalog to follow, and
no guidelines.
There is no guidelines, and we had to exchange our experience, our ideas. We established regulation, then we modified, then some amendments, like the whole world. But I think that my colleagues working in the private sector were very committed, very professional, and the resumption was very successful in Egypt.
And you can consider as a minister of the directions that all these local guidelines and protocols, due to what you took the experience from the network, from the worldwide, it worked properly. It's still challenging, I mean,
sure.
But yeah.
It went quite well.
Quite well.
I'm really impressed, and I was scared of the numbers of cases in Egypt in the touristic governorates, and the result is beyond my imagination, because there are almost no cases, very few cases, because we selected South Sinai and the Red Sea to start with. They are open air, beaches, sun, desert, plus strict hygiene safety measures. So the result was really great.
Egypt is also an important player due to the worldwide tourism. How can you modify Egypt's roles within this? Because at the same time, when Egypt as a country itself is a role model, how it can succeed, at the same time it's very important through the WTO how this organization can spread the best practices worldwide.
I think that Egypt, from touristic point of view, we are a step forward ahead of our competitors in the area. because the numbers of the cases in the governorate, they are almost nothing.
No.
Now the numbers of new cases in Egypt, we are 105 million. It's between 100 and 150 days. And in South Sinai and Hurghada, it's almost nil. So we have very affordable prices. We have very clear and strict hygiene safety measures. So I think that we come among the top markets in the area now with the new regulations for the UNWTO. We received with great pleasure and honor Mr. Zurab during last month during his first official visit outside Europe. We spent 3 days in Egypt. We went to Hurghada. We inspected everything: the hospital, the water activities, the hotels, the pyramids, the new Grand Egyptian Museum. We were everywhere, and he was, I think, reassured and very delighted to find that we are very committed to the hygiene safety measures.
Mr. Minister, thank you so much
Thank
for being
you.
with
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you.